A lot of people in the comments were asking about you and Arrietty.
As of recently, we are no longer friends. I am blocked on several platforms. But you know what? If everyone's saying something, they can't all be lying. At the time, I truly hated her. I don't think there was anyone on that cast who was not talking shit about Suzie. They made it seem like it was like a quick little like fight, one, two, whatever, it was done. It was like an all day thing. Like they halted everything. And so then everything went down and we all had to like stop. Everyone, every single person got put in their own corner. It was like this huge blow up fight.
Hello, everyone, and welcome to Sat with Matt. Today, I have with me a fabulous queen who charmed us with her fun personality and country music stylings when she competed on season 17 of RuPaul's Drag Race. I'm super excited for you two all to get to know her better and learn more about her amazing journey in drag. We'll, of course, be talking all things Drag Race, and I'll be asking some of the amazing questions you all sent in. So please join me in welcoming the always memorable Acacia Forgot.
Hello. Oh my God, I'm so excited to be here with you, Matt. Thank you so much for having me.
Thank you so much for being here, Acacia. I'm very excited to speak to you as well. We were just saying before we started, we both inadvertently wore green, so we're matching today.
I know this dress is like so long and like I feel like the only thing I can really wear it for is like Adele or something. So I never get to wear it. And then I'm like, oh, an interview. I'm like, oh, I can show off my new tan and like everything. I was like, okay, great, I'll wear it.
You look great. You look like Lady of the Manor. We were kind of saying before that you look at your background's kind of giving like Little House on the Prairie, that sort of thing.
Yeah, I'm just trying to like live my like milkmaid fantasy, you know?
It's working.
I
It's
just need the
working.
knockers. I need the knockers.
Well, thank you so much for being here. I'm very excited to speak to you. I loved you on the season. I always feel like you on the season we never quite got to, I feel like, get the real essence of what Acacia Forgot is. So that's why I think these interviews are great. Um, so what I thought would be fun is if we kind of talk a little bit about you and how you got started in drag, and then we'll obviously talk a little bit about Drag Race after that. So could you maybe tell us how you got started in drag, but also how the name Acacia Forgot came to being?
Yeah, so I was born and raised in San Jose, California. So grew up in like the tech world and all that stuff. And then for some reason in high school, I was like, I need to GTFO and like go somewhere else. So I up and moved to Grand Forks, North Dakota for college. And I was convinced I was going to be a farmer. I was going to marry a nice Christian woman and I was going to like live that fantasy. And then I like quickly accepted the fact that I was gay and then I realized I was miserable in North Dakota. So then I was like, okay, what do I do? So every year of my school, it was like I was like getting gayer and gayer. And then by my senior year of college, I was like, well, what's like the most gay thing I could do? And that was do drag. So I was like, let's do drag. It was like basically like my thesis of my gay experience in college. And it was like the ultimate like senior year thing. And so yeah, I started doing drag in Grand Forks, North Dakota. There was a monthly show at the American Legion called BJ Armani's Cabaret. And I became like a monthly cast member. And people came from like all over because the closest drag show is like 4 hours away in Minneapolis. So people would drive from all over. Still don't think I've ever made as many tips as I did at those shows. It's insane. And the community there is just so amazing because like everyone just understands that like the queer community is sometimes all you have. And they know the queer community will always be there for you. And so that really just showed me that kind of side of this welcoming, loving queer community, which I was grateful for because then I moved to New York, which was the complete opposite. So yeah, so then I moved to New York, and then I honed in my craft as a drag queen, and going out in Brooklyn and Hell's Kitchen and all those things. And I was just kind of like, when I first started doing drag, I was like, I really want to get on Drag Race. That's the goal. And then after that, I was like, nah, I don't really care if I get on Drag Race. I'll be fine. But I just like always in the back of my head, I just knew I'd get on one day. And then sure enough, here I am.
Yeah, you made it. You lived your dream. You manifested it, and you made it a reality.
I really did. I did manifest it.
So where did the name Acacia Forgot came from? And was that always your drag name, or was it is a different one?
That was always my drag name from day one. And I just wanted like a pun name. I like loved the like the names like Sharon Needles, and I loved how like Trixie Mattel was kind of like a play on words and branding. And I just love these like kind of fun pun names. But I didn't want something that was like feel my butthole or something. I wanted it to be like classy and like something just like it took you a minute to realize it was a pun. And I was just like throwing around things in my head. And I met this girl in college named Acacia. I was like, I love that name so much. I was like, I wonder if I could like play that into something. They just came to me, Acacia Forgot. And I was like, that's it. That's the one.
So you mentioned that so you started drag and then moved to New York and everything, and your goal was always to get on Drag Race. So how many seasons did you apply for before you actually got on?
I only applied for 2 seasons. I applied for, I think it was season 14. It was the season that Jasmine Kennedy got on. I think it
14.
was 14. Yeah, so I applied for that season. It was the first application due during the pandemic. And I filmed it all by myself. And it was insane. And then obviously didn't get on. And then I was just kind of like, I was going through a lot in New York and then moved to LA. And I was like doing my whole country music thing in LA, like playing all these like country music gigs at just straight honky tonk bars. And I was like, you know what? I don't need Drag Race. I'll be fine. I want to like work on this branding. And then my boyfriend, who also does drag, Osti, he was like, we should audition together and see if we can be the first couple on. And I was like, oh, that's interesting. I was like, okay, I would do an audition for that. So we did our separate auditions trying to be the first couple on. And then I like finished the tape and I was like, oh wait, this is like kind of good. I think I have a chance. And then I ended up getting the call. He did not, but that's okay. That's okay. We're still working on it one day.
So okay, so you get on season 17. Can you talk a little bit about what was that first day like walking into the workroom and seeing all the other queens? How did you feel? Like, did you have that moment of, oh my God, I'm on Drag Race, or were you already in the mindset?
I was just freaking out. I like, again, I have no chill. I am like a walking panic attack. And like, it was just the whole, everything. I was just like so scared and so nervous. And even just like walking into the workroom, I just like felt like I couldn't like let myself enjoy it because I just was so caught up in like, just like, don't get eliminated, don't get eliminated, don't get eliminated, don't get eliminated. Um, Make people like you, don't say the wrong thing, don't get canceled. Like just all these things are running through my head. And then it's like you get in and then you kind of realize like once you see the other girls, you're like, oh, I'm not gonna make it to the end. Like they do not want me to go to the finale, and I know that. And so it's like, so then things like that start settling in. You're okay, how do I make it as far as I can go? And then it's just like you just start going to panic mode. And you're like, okay, well, where should my station be? What should this be? I also don't know anyone who was really on Drag Race that I could like talk to. Where some of these girls, their mothers were on Drag Race, all this stuff, and they prepped them for like, this is what you need to expect. This is where you need to sit. This is what you need. This is like how you do this. And I was like, oh yeah, sure. Like you guys could do this. And I wish I going in knew more of what to expect because I was just panicking the whole time.
That's very interesting that you said. So, I just want to pick up on one thing. So, you said you, when you walked in and you saw the other girls, you knew you weren't going to win.
Oh yeah,
Oh,
yeah,
okay.
100%. Yeah, you can watch. I mean, maybe I'm just like not narcissistic enough to like be like good at Drag Race, but like, I mean, I feel like now I could do a lot better. But like going into it, yeah, you walk in and when you see Lexi Love walk in, oh yeah, no, and you can also like tell by the way like the girls are responding to you. You could tell, you could just kind of tell that like you were not necessarily brought in to be the like dominating diva of the challenges, you know?
Okay, that's actually very insightful and very kind of for a drag queen, very honest and kind of self-aware, I must say. Because you got to have a blind
I mean,
confidence,
that's
I
like,
think, in a way, but also
and that's like, and you know what? I wish I could have that blind confidence because I bet those girls are just so happy all the time. But like being so like aware of just everything with like social standing and abilities and all these things, it like, I mean, it could be like very like anxiety inducing because you want to be like this big personality. And like when I'm at like a show, I could be that big personality. But like when you're like on TV and you also know, okay, this is how fans perceive drag queens. And it's like they are fans hard. And like you when you're going in, you don't know that Suzie Toot's going to be loved by everybody. And then you're going into it being like, she's ugly and bad at drag. And then you're like, you get out and you're like, oh my God, everyone's going to see that this girl's crazy and no one's going to understand why she's loved by the judges. And then you get out and you're like, oh my God, they love her. And now I look like a psychopath being like, she's ugly, she's like all these things. And then I'm like, oh my God. And then so you just so many things like go into perspective because you don't know what's gonna happen.
So you said you don't think you were brought in to be kind of like, the one who's slaying all of the challenges. So without putting words in your mouth, I'm just curious, do you think you were brought in to be like a mid out, just to kind of like, well, are you trying to say that you were, I'm not saying you are, but are you saying you were a filler queen to like from the start? Or do you think they have an idea of who's going to be going when and things like that? Did you know any of the queens from before?
I knew Joella from before. Yeah. And then
Okay.
other than that, I yeah, I did not know anybody else. I don't even think I'd heard of anybody else. But I also like for so many years, I get that sounds so see now that sounds narcissistic. But I I didn't know any of the girls because I was very disconnected from the drag scene for the last few years before getting on Drag Race because I was trying to make it in like music and like build my name in the country music world as Acacia Forgot. And so I wasn't even really paying attention to like the queens coming up in New York and all the queens that were like the it queens around the country. And so I felt really behind in that because all the queens knew of each other and knew each other. And I was like, who is Lana Jarre? And everyone says she has like 60,000 followers. And I'm like, who is she? Because I just like was not paying attention to like the drags. Not saying that I deserve to have thought that about Lana because she deserves all the followers and she is wicked famous and like super cool and deserves it. But just going in, I just was not in that world, you know.
Drag her, drag Lana, drag her.
No, I love Lana. No, Lana, you know I love you. I'm a huge fan. I'm a huge fan. And I now am one of those followers and I would not have it any other way.
Oh, so one thing it kind of moves on to what I wanted to say was you were talking about you wanted to build up your name in music, and that was kind of what you were focusing on. Obviously, for the first episode, well, the first two episodes was the talent show. You were in the first group, and you did a country music number, and unfortunately, you were rated by the Rater Queen in the bottom, so you had to lip sync the next episode. When you did that performance, obviously in your confessionals you were kind of saying, well, some of these queens didn't really do a talent whereas I did, because you sang guitar,
Mhm.
you sang and did guitar. How did you feel the performance went?
I felt like the performance went well, okay, so I felt like the performance went great. But the first time I did the performance, I had to go first, by the way. I was the first one to walk the runway and the first one to do the talent show. And so obviously me walking panic attack, now I'm the first queen of the season to do all the things and like be the guinea pig, basically. And so I was like terrified, but I was like, you know what? I do this for a living. And I felt so confident. I felt very honestly comfortable in the talent show. And I get up there, I do my thing. And the first time I do it, there was a technical issue and the sound cut out like partway through it popped or something happened. And so I had to do it again. And now I'm like a bit more flustered and like, because now I have to do it again. And I felt like I did great. And then it was like, oh my God, was it me? And then I started getting in my head. So the second time I did it a little bit more shaky, but I still did it fairly well, I think. I think I did pretty good. And so I was already like flustered. And then they were like having all these issues that I'm like, this is not even my fault. Which then Katy Perry had a lot of comments backstage about me saying that I was like very shaky. I like was pitchy, all these things. I'm like, well, it was because the sound was like all messed up, and then you guys made me redo it. And so like I don't really think that's fair personally. But then also the fact that I feel like I actually brought a talent. I was one of the few to bring a talent that isn't just lip syncing, which I mean, we're going to see them do at some point when they're in the bottom. So why do we have to see it now? Why are you giving away all your tricks?
Did you think it was like fair, and how did you feel about your performance?
Oh, yeah. No, I don't think it was fair because of like the technical difficulties. And I was going first. So like that's added nerves because all the girls were like, I don't want to go first. And I like was forced to based on like, I think we did alphabetical or maybe it was one, random draw. I can't remember. But then in Untucked, all the girls were like, if we saw this in the club, we would be tipping you like $10. We'd be tipping you so much money because for you to bring a guitar to the club, like that is like the fiercest talent. Like you were so good that and the fact that you wrote that, it was so fun. I loved it. But I think we're gonna put her in the bottom. And it's like, I just don't I think it's just I don't think it's fair because I'm like, I don't get that logic. But maybe
Yeah.
it's just strategic. I don't know.
So there's a few things I want to pick up on. So you said you had to go first and there were technical issues. Now, if I'm
Hmm.
correct, I might be making this up. I think I'm correct. You actually did it first. I'm pretty sure in the actual episode you were not shown first. You were like quite a way through.
Correct.
Which is kind of
Yeah, I
crazy when you
went
actually think
first.
about it. Like, why don't they just show the order in which it was? Because it makes it, from an audience
Yeah.
point of view, even though they're not saying she went first or didn't go first, you assume, like, okay, this person went, then this person went, this person went. But being the first, I think you do give people a bit more grace, especially if there was a technical issue. They're not going to show that, but that is actually quite
Right.
big information.
And that's what I thought too. But I mean, I think they like change up the order in post because of like storyline. And I think maybe if they want someone, if they're setting me up because I'm in the bottom, then maybe they're gonna put me after like Suzie Toot, who like obvious I can't remember who I was after, but like they probably put me after someone who like does really well. So it kind of like builds the flow of the episode, I would assume. But yeah, no, I did the talent show first and I walked first.
So as you kind of just said, so you were in the bottom, unfortunately, for the first episode, and then Hormona was in the bottom for the second episode, so you had to lip sync. When you were put in the
Yes.
bottom with Hormona, did you think at that point, I'm going home? Or did you think, no, there's no way I'm going home?
Oh no, I was pretty confident. I also was confident because I knew that I had 24 hours to prepare myself. And I think if I was put up to be eliminated and then expected to lip sync that night, I probably would have gone home. But it gave me all night to just really plan what I was going to do. It gave me time to like plan my reveal. It gave me time to just like practice everything and just get in the mindset of like, you got this and you just need to go out there. And then the next day, all the queens like asking, like, oh, who do you want to be in the bottom? Because who do you think you could take in a lip sync? Like, is that gonna like that would probably like determine how you vote? And at first I was like, I was for sure wanting Lexi because I was like, she's old, she won't be able to lip sync. Like she's pretty, but she can't do anything. And thank God I did not have to lip sync against that woman because she is like an insane lip syncer. And I was like, oh my God, if I would have against her, I would have gone home. So yeah, when I saw that it was Hormona, I was like, yeah, I think I can do this.
Okay, so mentioning your reveal, so in that lip sync, you pulled like a makeup brush from your butt. A lot of people in the questions for you when I posted I was interviewing you, a lot of the questions were about how, like, where did that come from? How did you do that? Can you tell us about the brush in the butt?
Yeah, so oh, that poor brush. I had an idea for like some other reveals that I was going to do, but I wasn't able to do them. And so I was all I had was that brush in my butt. And I was like, I have to like make this a moment. And so like I really like gave it my all. But I have had that in there for probably, I don't even know, probably close to 6 to 8 hours. Probably long enough to make a nice stew or something. A nice like crock pot meal. It was in there for a while. Yeah.
Was it glued? Like, was it up there or was it glued or like what? How?
Well, I mean, I can't reveal all my secrets, but I did have to like glue it in place to make sure it didn't come out. But then like as we're like walking back and forth from like Untucked and stuff, Crystal's trying to like fix my dress because it was like kind of opening, but then she was kind of being like flirty, trying to like peek at my butt, and I was like, girl, no, like you cannot touch this because I was like, I didn't want any of the girls to know that it was there. So I was like, oh no, no, don't touch me, sorry, no. Like, please don't. And yeah, because I was like, and I was like sitting there and Untucked. It was there during Untucked. It was there for all of it.
Wow. Okay, that doesn't sound the most comfortable, but it was a great reveal. It was actually really good.
No. It was truly miserable, but I was like, I'd rather be miserable and have a moment than and get eliminated than have no moment and then also possibly get eliminated. So I was like, we're just gonna have fun with that.
So, well, you weren't eliminated, luckily, so you did win, and then also Hormona got saved by the Badunkadunk tank anyway, so kind of no one went home. How did
Hmm.
uh, after that lip sync moment? What do you feel like your trajectory like was in the competition? Did it kind of reinvigorate you, or did you then feel like you were having to make up for people considering you as being the bottom, a bottom queen kind of thing?
I really think being in the bottom just I feel like it like almost like ruined my experience because my whole thing was like I just wanted to like make it past the first episode. And then like being put in the bottom and being like seen in that way, it like even though like I won the lip sync and that helped reinvigorate me a little bit because I was like, oh, like maybe I'm like not horrible. But I like it really just made me even more in my head the rest of the time. And it was just like it just ignited this anxiety in me that like I felt like I wasn't able to shake. And also by like not really being in the top ever, it just like kept eating at me and my like self-confidence, you know?
But you're saying that it kind of being in the bottom, you think if you hadn't been in the bottom the first week, do you think it would have affected your overall placement in the competition, or was it?
I don't know if it would have like affected my overall placement. I do think winning that lip sync did give me some credit, but I think that like just being in the bottom just ruined my confidence and made my performance suffer. Even though after the RDR live challenge where I was paired with Lydia and she was in the bottom and lip synced. And RuPaul the next day on the walkthrough, I don't think they aired it, but told me that I was one of her favorite performances and all the judges loved me. And the only reason why I wasn't in the top was because I was paired with Lydia and she brought down like all of it. But I was like, first of all, shouldn't that mean that I persevered and that I like still made an amazing performance even though my scene partner was struggling? And second of all, then just put me in the top. Give me something. Like so like that like did give me like confidence because then RuPaul said like, oh, like I think you could have a future in like acting or in like sketch comedy. And then also Paul W. Downs also said that because he was also in our scene and he was like, you've never done this. Like you could really do like sketch comedy. Like this is could be a calling of yours. So that really made me feel confident and helped boost me a little bit. But the fact that I never got the credit on the main stage, I was like, and I feel like that just really deteriorated my confidence.
You were there for so you were there for about eight competitive episodes. So we can't sort of sort through every single episode. You've already mentioned the RDR live and that. One of the other things I
Hmm.
thought we could touch on was Snatch Game. Because it's sort of the
Hmm.
challenge, isn't it? You did Trisha Paytas, and then
Yes.
am I right in thinking that you got to know her and you're kind of friends with her in real life?
Yeah, so she is like one of my biggest inspirations as a person, as an artist, as just everything. I like love her like with she like practically saved my life when I was in North Dakota and in New York because I like didn't have any friends. I was like suicidal. I was just like miserable and her videos like just I don't know. There was something about her that I always watched her throughout like high school and like middle school and all these things like since her beginning. And I just resonated with her. And when I was in North Dakota and New York and I felt so lonely and I was so miserable, I would get my food and I would put on one of her eating videos and we would just eat together. And I just felt like I wasn't alone. And I felt like I like had someone who understood me, who I felt like I connected with and that I saw myself in and we would just eat. And sometimes I would, it's real sad, but sometimes I would like order what she was eating. So it's like if she's eating KFC, I'm gonna order KFC. We're gonna eat KFC together. And it got me through my darkest times is watching her videos. So I always knew I wanted to do it for Snatch Game. I've done many Snatch Games for local competitions in the past, and I was always very high in those, and like I did very well. And so I was like, I have to do her. And so then after Drag Race, I just on a whim just sent her an email, a random email to like the email in her bio. And I was like, hey, I did you on Snatch Game. I would love to put you in drag. You'll probably never see this, but like, just wanted to shoot my shot. And she emailed me back, like, I don't know, within a few hours and was like, oh my God, that is like the biggest form of flattery. I'm so honored. Here's my phone number. Just text me and we'll like get it set up. I'll pay to have outfits created and let's do it up. Like I want to like do it big. And so we like did it big. We had custom dresses made. I went over to her house. I met Moses. I met Malibu and I put her in drag, and it was like the most magical experience like ever. I was terrified that I would have a horrible experience. Like, not that I ever thought she would give a horrible experience, but like, just I just didn't want to have that for me ruined because it was so important to me. And just meeting her, she just was the sweetest person in the world. And then we did like a little mukbang together, and she just was like telling me like how grateful she felt to know that someone like me was a fan of her and like was inspired by her, and like she just told me I was a great person, and it just like it made me feel like so lucky, and I just hope that maybe one day I can be that for someone, you know.
Yeah, I mean that's a lovely, like, really nice that she had that and she actually responded and you had that fulfilled for yourself as well. So that's a really nice way of looking at it. And I mean, for the Snatch game, did you go into it thinking that it might be a winning performance, or did you kind of do and think, oh, what was it like filming Snatch game?
I don't think I ever felt like I was going to give a winning performance in anything, to be honest. I was just like truly trying to like make it out alive of everything. I had high hopes it was going to be a winning performance. I think in the past there have been performances I've done of Trisha Paytas that like I did so much better than that, but I knew that Snatch Game was going to be a very intense situation. I knew that they weren't going to have anybody, like any audience there. There was no laughter. It was completely silent. They like told the staff in the room, like, if you're going to laugh, you have to leave the room. Like, you cannot laugh. It has to be quiet. So it feels like nothing's landing. And I chose her too because I knew that in those moments of anxiety, she is probably the only person I could actually try to channel, whether I was like nervous by the question asked or nervous by no one laughing. I could like at least embody her like 50%. And I felt like anybody else, I was like, I did not feel confident in that. The truth is that apparently the judges said that we all did horrible. And RuPaul said that um, she went home and like she watched it because we filmed it the day before the elimination. She said she watched it, she went home and she cried. It was so bad. She said, I probably will never do it again. So the fact that they put anybody else on the top, I was like, even like us being safe, they told us just because you're safe doesn't mean you did well. It just means you weren't the worst. We definitely all thought it was going to be another like 10-way lip sync.
Moving on to maybe one of your more memorable moments on the season, was the Rusical challenge in episode 8. Now, I think, because up until then, you had not necessarily been featured that much as one of either the villains or the not. You were a bit more, I guess, safe a lot of the time. Then there was the thing where you and Suzie both wanted the lead role, and there was tension.
Mhm.
All she's doing is putting me down, and that's just pissing me off.
I think a solid backup for that is the Green Witch.
No, I will not do that. I'm not like musical theater, like that's you.
The role of Green Witch is older theater Broadway girl. Susie's like a 98-year-old washed up theater nerd.
You ended up getting it, but obviously they did the whole like they hate each other and all this kind of stuff. What did it feel like filming that? Did you think like, oh, we're making a moment, or were you just so like, no, she's not having this role, I want it?
At the time, I truly hated her. I was like, I really was like, well, because there were so many times where like there'd be fights that would happen between different girls, and then after they like cut the cameras, the girls would be like, "Oh my God, that's so good. They're good. Like they're gonna eat that up." And for me, I'm like living my truth, and I'm like, I'm truly showing how I'm feeling at all hours of the day, and I wasn't like really playing anything up. It was just everything was truly how I was feeling. And so when it got to that, I was like, I want this. And then also like I was like kind of on edge because after the Snatch game, Susie like was going on her rant of how she deserved to be in the top. And I'm like, because she had the best impersonation. I'm like, RuPaul has said for 100 years that she does not want to see an impersonation. She wants to laugh. And it was like, it's not, you had a great impersonation. You had a great impersonation. It was beautiful, but like it wasn't funny. And that's what she wanted. And she just like, there was one point where we were like trying to like say that to her. She was like, can you just let me have my moment to like vent? And I was like, girl. And at the time I felt like she was being very arrogant and like entitled to like feeling like she should be the best or whatever. And so when it came down to that role, I was like, no, I want this. And when she was going for it, I was like, girl, there's literally a role that says like a washed up theater teacher who's like overly theatric. Like that's literally written for you. Like this is like a ballad, a sad ballad. I'm like a country girl who writes sad music on my guitar. Like this was for me, like let me have this. And it's just like we're not letting go. And also like I'm not gonna paint myself green. Like that's not my truth. And that's not like that is for some girls and that's fun for them. But like I don't paint myself other colors. And I'm not doing that. I don't want to do that. And so I did like that fight was like genuine and I was very heated and I was very frustrated because I'm like, girl, please, like I'm asking to have my moment. Just let me have my moment. And then the second that fight was done, I was sitting there and I was like, oh, I'm gonna go home next. I like saw the writing on the wall. I was like, Acacia Forgot, fights with Suzie, the underdog that everyone hates. Susie's gonna kill this performance because she's getting the role that was made for her. And she's so talented at singing and acting and all these things. And then I'm gonna go home because I tried to get the role. And I was the girl who got the role she wanted, but she couldn't like stand up to the fight. And I just knew. And I was like, oh. And then they pulled us aside. We were all like getting ready at our little tables or whatever to like prepare for our roles. And I was like, and I was fuming. And then she was like trying to talk to me. And I'm like, yeah, like I'm very upset. Like this is bullshit. And I was like, you were undermining me. And you're telling, and then it was because we were asking like, why should we get the role? And I was like, I should get the role because I like this because of me. And she was like, I should get the role because judges have said you've not been very good. The judges have said you have not really outshone anybody and like just dogging on me. And I was like, why are you coming for me? Give the reason why you deserve the role. So then I went off at her then, and then they pulled me into the diary room to like get some confessionals. And they knew I was heated. They knew I was heated and I was like ready to go because I sat down. They asked me one question about Suzie, and I was like, and she was like an 80-year-old washed up fucking musical theater nerd and all this stuff. And like I was like going off, and then they like calmed down. They'd get ready to ask me another question. I'd be like, other thing. And then she said this. And can you believe she did it for like an hour? I was like ranting. And then I was done, finally calmed down. And they were like, okay, I think we got it. And I was like, no, no. I was like, I said too much, but they knew my weakness. They knew my weakness.
Suzie was your kryptonite. That's what it was.
She was. And she tore me down. Plus, it was like we were recording the things, and like Michelle, when I was trying to record my thing, she was like only talking to Suzie, like telling her like, "Oh, it's okay if you don't get the role you want. Like you will persevere, and like you're talented while it's like my time." And I was just like, what about me? Hello. So like there was like little things that I was just like, I fed up. I fed up.
You mentioned about saying Suzie was arrogant. I was actually going to ask about this because I do on my other channel. I obviously do Roscoe's recaps, where I recap what happens at Roscoe's viewing parties. And when you were the guest, you were kind of asked about that whole fight with Suzie, and you said that Suzie was, and this is a quote, arrogant and full of herself, and thought that the judges loved her, so we must love her. But the interesting thing was, a lot of people on the cast, whether it was through jealousy or whatever, didn't like her, like Lexi, and they were kind of saying, no, Acacia deserves the role because Suzie got it last time and she's being selfish. Was that a thing that everyone felt? Was Suzie kind of almost like the one that everyone loved to hate a little bit?
Yeah. I mean, I don't think there was anyone on that cast who was not talking shit about Suzie.
Why do you think
Like,
that
it
is?
was, I think that people just didn't understand her drag. And I think they just, like, looking back on it, I can see, like, what Susie saw and what judges saw. But at the time, it's like we were all bringing like certain types of drag, and then we see her, and we're not maybe not understanding the story, or we're not understanding like the brand, and we're like, she's wearing like, I don't know, a pink bodysuit, and like I don't understand how this is like high drag. But now looking back, I can understand like the branding and the everything like with a full like a clearer vision. But I think it was also just like a lot of jealousy. I think a lot of queens were just expecting to be at the top and be praised for their drag. And I think it was like the same thing of like my talent show where it's like queens just maybe put down things that they know they can't do. And I think like something with Susie, it's like, oh well, I deserve the praise, and why is she getting praised? I think there's a lot of jealousy in that too. I mean, looking back, I want it to be very clear. I love Suzie Toot. I just went and saw Susie with a Z, and it was amazing. And also seeing her perform live, it's like she just is so talented and really deserves all the praise and everything she gets. I want that to be very clear. But yeah, I don't know what it was then that just really pissed everybody off.
It was certainly very interesting to watch because it was that kind of, it was almost like giving like Jinx Monsoon vibes, like everyone, like the quirky talented queen that people don't see it for her, but the audience then go to love her. It was that kind of interesting storyline, I thought.
Yeah.
And it's nice to know that you're actually friends and it was all just, a blip in time kind of thing.
Yeah, it's funny because like on Drag Race, the girls that while filming I like didn't like the most are the ones that I feel like closer to now. Like Hormona, I was like not a fan of when we were filming, and I was like, I don't think I could ever be friends with her. And then getting her to know her after Drag Race, I'm like, she is like probably the person I'm like the closest to from the cast, and I love her so much. And I'm like, I feel so lucky to have her in my life because she is just truly one of the best people in the world. And I'm like, what? I mean, then looking back, I'm like, what was it that like just did not vibe with me? Maybe it was just the high stress and like the walking panic attack that was going on.
Well, speaking of that, there was one thing I actually wanted to ask because quite a lot of people in the we were talking about obviously people you liked and didn't like on set and the perception of that. A lot of people in the comments were asking about you and Arrietty because I think that was another person who I remember you saying at some point that when you watched the season when it aired, you were really surprised that certain people had said rude things about you in the confessionals, whereas to your face they hadn't said it. And Arrietty was one of them and said that you had no taste and she hates you. And apparently Arrietty sent you flowers as an apology for Can you kind of talk us through what happened?
Yeah, she did. Her and I became like very close after like towards like the end of filming, and then after we had gotten back, and then when everything had come out, it was shocking that she was like saying such. I mean, it was like I could handle like the girls reading me, like Sam Star would read me for like my runways or my performance, and it was like fun. But she was like saying the things like she's ugly, I hate her, like all these things, and I was like so taken aback because I felt like we were such close friends, and I go like we talked every day at the time, and I didn't message back for like days, and she knew I was upset. And then she ended up sending flowers to my apartment. So when I got back from the gig, there was flowers there.
What's your relationship like now? Because that's what a lot of people wanted to know.
Um, as of recently, we are no longer friends,
Oh,
and I am blocked on several platforms, and things have moved in different directions for us.
is that? I'm assuming that's not to do with that. Is that to do with more Arrietty's behavior and some of the things that she did after the season?
Yeah. Yeah, especially like recently.
Yeah, obviously at the time though she said those things about Irene and like there was that because I
Hmm.
feel like Arrietty's become a little bit controversial since the season. I mean, on the season she was already a bit controversial because of what she said about Anya in the message about having bad breath, but she has become a bit. So you two are not on speaking terms then.
No, and all those things that she said about the other people, I always defended her everywhere. Anytime I had a gig, I defended her. Everyone who said I shouldn't be friends with her, I defended her. But you know what? If everyone's saying something, they can't all be lying, you know? So,
Interesting. Okay, so blocked
yeah.
and not not friends, basically.
Yeah, no, she will not be coming to the housewarming party. No.
Wow. Okay. No, that's very honest. Nice honesty. So going back a little bit to obviously the Roots call and you being in the bottom and everything. Unfortunately, you did have to lip sync against Corey, and you
Mhm.
unfortunately went home. Going into that lip sync, did you think I'm going to survive again, or do you think this is my time? It's curtains.
I thought there was a chance because I mean we ended up having like the same track record, but it felt like Corey was doing worse than me. So I felt like there was a chance. But then also knowing the lip sync song, I was like, there's no way. It's a dancey pop song, and I don't know how to dance or pop. So I'm like, she's going. Like, also, she loves Adam Lambert like to death. So I was like, oh, I have no chance. I mean, even like in Untucked, I can't remember if they aired or not, but I was like telling her, I was like, I will give you. I'm a wig stylist, or I was a wig stylist before Drag Race for like 5 years, and I was telling her, I was like, I will give you free wigs for the rest of your career if you throw this lip sync and let me have it. Like, please let me have this lip sync. I'm like, you're clearly not gonna make it farther. Like, you're not gonna make it long. So just let me have it. Let me get one more week, please. But obviously, she didn't. But apparently, as we learned from this season, RuPaul doesn't care if people's wigs fall off anymore because that is just fine. But I mean, to be fair, my shoes did come off, but you know what? My wig didn't. So
What did it feel like then being eliminated? Can you kind of talk us through what happens in terms of how you feel, how it's filmed? Like, because obviously we've heard from other queens that you're sort of taken off stage, and sometimes you're kind of almost segregated, and they have to film all the bits on the main stage, and then you have to go and do your mirror message, and it can feel quite like you're very sad and emotional, but then you're also alone, kind of thing. Like, can you kind of talk us through that?
I mean, so yeah, so it like well, it was I mean, it was emotional, but I truly felt like I was going home anyway. And especially going in that day specifically, you just like all many queens talk about it, but you walk into the workroom and you just know you're gonna be eliminated. I don't know what it is, but you just walk in and you feel it. And I just knew that that's what was gonna happen. And then it did. And then when I was eliminated, I like truly was just like at peace with it all. And I was like, at that point, I was very homesick. I missed my boyfriend. I missed my dog so much. And when I went backstage and you have to do like a little like interview thing, and I wasn't like crying or hysterical. And the producers were like, are you okay? You're not like crying or like, are you like good? Like, you're not giving the reaction that we like would have thought. And I was like, I made it on my favorite TV show. I made it through over half the episodes of the season, and I got to showcase my music. I got to showcase some of my favorite drag that I created for the show. And I also that night, they didn't air it, of course, but RuPaul looked at my outfit and said that that was one of his favorite looks ever. And every single judge said it was their favorite look of the night. And RuPaul said, based on this look, you clearly know how to do drag and you know how drag race works. And I was like that was just like the icing on top. So when I got off and they're like, you're not crying. And I was like, RuPaul said I was the best dressed of the night. They said they said your talent was amazing, your performance was amazing, your voice is amazing, you're the best dressed of the night. And then they eliminated me, and I was like, what am I going to be mad at? They told me I was beautiful. They told me I was talented. And then I get to now go home and see my boyfriend and my dog. So I'm like, I felt like I won. So I truly was at peace with like leaving, even though it sucked and I wanted to go farther, but I was also like okay with what I showed. That's like I get so many comments. I mean, I see all the comments, obviously, like all the hate comments, all these different things, and everyone's like, "Oh, like you like couldn't even like make it that far on Drag Race." I'm like, I literally was like halfway. Like, did you even watch the show? Girl, what show did you see? Because I made it halfway. I don't know what you're talking about.
So I kind of mentioned there was, maybe you didn't quite, you weren't as front and center. And I think there's been a lot of people who kind of say like, oh, Acacia forgot, like she's so unmemorable, whatever, whatever. Do you look back on it and think, I wish I'd done stuff differently? Is there anything you do wish you had done differently on the season, or are you kind of happy with how it all went? So the name of my main channel is Drag Tea Served. So I was wondering, this is obviously the interview channel, Sat with Matt, but Drag Tea Served, so that's what a lot of people know me as. Can you maybe serve us some drag tea and tell us something that happened off camera that you wish was either shown, or something that you was like shady that you think should have been shown, or like just like something you can share with us?
Oh, honestly, the biggest thing that I wish they showed more of was spray paint gate from the ball. That was like they made it seem like it was like a quick little like fight, 1, 2, whatever, it was done. It was like an all day thing. Like they halted everything. And like Anya came in and she was getting like she was working on her outfit right next to me and she was like, it's about to go down. Just wait, it's about to go down. And I was like, what do you mean? And then she told me what happened before everything blew up. And she's like, the second Lexi walks in here, she's about to go down. And I was like, oh my God, what? And so then everything went down and we all had to like stop. Every single person got put in their own corner. It was like this huge blow up fight. Like it was like production halted everything. And I'm like, literally the second everything was happening, all of us looked at each other and we're like, we're getting the Emmy. We're getting the Emmy. Yeah, we're getting the Emmy. And then when it came out, they like showed like 2 seconds of it and like kind of blew over it. And I was like, this was like major. And they just kind of made it seem like Lexi comes in, yells, they kind of like fight a little bit, and then they like make up. And I was like, no, this was like half the day. Like, this is crazy. They had to add extra time the next day for us to finish our outfits because we couldn't work half the day. So I'm like, this is crazy that they're like blowing over this. I just wish they would have shown the whole thing because it was fierce.
Was there more shouting and more like arguments, or is it more like because I think some queens have said you had to all be separated and you were put into different corners and stuff. Did it get like more intense than they showed, and that's why they didn't show it all, or what?
I mean, they had to have people come in and like separate them.
Security.
No, literally, call the security, get them in. Because it was like, I mean, it was intense. Like they both were heated for their own. Like I understand both sides of the story, and I can understand why Lexi was obviously, and I can understand why Anya was feeling like she was falsely accused because like she didn't know that she couldn't spray paint on this tarp, even though it was a different color than all the other tarps. But that's whatever. But I can understand how she didn't know, and like don't blame me. And but yeah, it would be. I saw either way, they were both were like just their reaction was what's the thing like the sentencing was not worth the crime. It was like their reactions was not worth what was happening, you know. Also, I do want to just say Lexi was freaking out. I don't think she realized that a tarp you can flip it over and it's still a tarp. I think the thing was is that there was a lot of dramas happening, but I also think because all these queens are so young and they only know drag because of Drag Race, and I think they also know storylines, they know perception. So many of them, almost all of them, they have family who was on Drag Race, and so I think they all knew the perception of being like the villain or going taking things too far. So I think they were there was all this drama of like all these different gates that were happening, but then no one wanted to take it to that too far and stand their ground because they didn't want to be like canceled for anything. That's what I think happened, but
I'd love to move on to my subscriber questions because we've got so many questions we need to get
yes,
through. So
let's do it. Sorry.
It's fine. Yeah, it's fine. First question comes from my Patreon, Nat, who said, I love Acacia. The question is the mullet when you're out of drag. Do you still have the mullet?
Yes.
Do you still have the mullet? And if so, how do you get the mullet in your wig?
Well, I did just get the mullet trimmed, but it is still pretty long. You can't see it now. Well, depending on what angle you look, but I have it all tucked away. Just a lot of tucking. A lot of queens tuck other things, and I have to spend more time trying to tuck my mullet up into my wig. But I just still have the mullet. I think finding the mullet, I truly found the hairstyle that fits for me, and I don't think I'll ever get rid of it unless I start balding.
One other thing I wanted to mention was on did talk about this on the season a bit, but a lot of people brought up the fact that you talked about the fact that you have cystic fibrosis.
Yeah.
And a lot of people just want to say like thank you so much for bringing awareness to it. And someone even said unfortunately their sister had it and passed away, which is very sad. But they were saying thank you so much for representing us. And their question was, how is it, if at all, how has it affected you and your drag?
I mean, I've noticed like obviously different things like shortness of breath. I also have noticed well, first of all, I like had not at the point I had not seen a CF doctor for like 10 years, which is a death sentence for someone with CF. And when I had like been trying with my insurance in LA to find a CF doctor and to get help and like care and medication because I had not done anything for literally probably like closer to 15 years. And I could not, and my insurance wouldn't allow me to. No one would show me the way of programs or any like medical assistance or anything. And it literally took getting on national television to find a doctor because getting on there and talking about my story, one, I got thousands of messages from people with CF, people who had kids with CF, siblings, friends who passed away, who are still living, and all these things, which was just so warm to me because that's just like I said with Trisha Paytas, like if I could be someone who shows someone that there is life worth living and helps them be themselves. That is like my biggest purpose in life. But in that, I met a doctor at UCLA who was like asked me about my care, and like I worked with them and with the CF Foundation for their last conference, and I was like, oh, I don't have a care team or anything, and he was like, oh my God, I'll help you get in, help me get into one of the best CF care teams in the country, help me with the financial aid, so now I don't pay anything for my care and help me get all the medication. And it took me getting on national television to get a doctor in this country. Like, that is crazy to me. I feel so grateful and so lucky, but then it's like, what about all these other people who can't? So I feel lucky to be able to be speaking out about it and to be working things like the CF Foundation, conferences, and all these different things to help other people get the care and the help that they need.
Yeah, it's amazing that you have a platform to do that. So thank you to obviously to everyone for writing that question because that's really important.
Yeah. And thank you too for asking that because also there's like never, I think the biggest thing with CF, there's not much awareness for it because typically people die before they're old enough to become famous or have a platform or anything. And so there was never celebrities that we could like look up to who had it that we could see our future in. And I think that is the biggest thing that I feel like I've met drag queens at gigs who have CF and they're like, seeing you gave me hope that I could do this or I could be somebody one day. And that is like just the most rewarding thing. I don't even have to get paid for the gig. If someone tells me that, that's all I want. That's all I need.
No, that's love. That is lovely. It's lovely hearing. That's so lovely for you to have that effect on people. It's crazy. Um,
Mhm.
so another question was, we kind of touched on this before, but someone said, "Do you regret anything on season 17?" Which we sort of did touch on, but they also said, "Do you foresee yourself being on an All Stars to come back and show something else?"
I would love to be on All Stars. I think I would kill it. I think I have a lot better idea of what my brand is. I've worked with many designers since being on Drag Race, so I know how that process works. And I think now, like I said, I now knowing what to expect, I also feel like I don't have anything to lose. Before, I feel like I had so much to lose, like just by gaining this platform. So now I'm like, girl, let's just do it. Let's have fun.
Another question. We did sort of talk about you working with designers and things earlier, and this is sort of on the same ilk as that. If you don't mind revealing, someone asked how much did you spend on your Drag Race package?
Oh my God. I would say I probably spent on just the drag because I also had to set aside money for like so many other bills while I was gone, which like I had to like get everything ready. The total I probably spent on just the package, probably somewhere between 25 to $35,000. Yeah.
That is
To make it
insane.
halfway. To make it halfway. And then to have my ripped apart on Reddit Okay, great. I wish I would have spent $10. Like,
That I mean,
yeah.
when you think about it, $25,000 to $35,000, like that is actually insane. When you, I mean, we all know there's people who spend a lot more than that, and there's also people who spend less, but it is genuinely insane that you have to. I mean, they do get stipends, I believe, on Drag Race
Hmm.
now, but I don't think
It's
that
like
covers it.
$3,500 or something.
That's like 10%.
Which, like, what am I gonna do? But then you have people like Lydia who only spent the stipend, and I'm like, work.
Yeah.
I
If
wish
you
I would have done that.
if you've got the if you're a seamstress and you can do that, then great. But not everyone. That's genuinely insane. Do you think you've made that money back from like bookings and things?
Oh yeah, yeah. But I've definitely made it back, and we're definitely fine. We're definitely comfortable. I mean, we now have a house. We're very comfortable. We're very fine. But do I wish I would have not spent that? Yeah. Do I wish? Or do I plan to not spend that on All Stars? Yeah.
What was your favorite and least favorite outfit that you had?
Because both of those were nightmares to get. The designer didn't even repost it, didn't accept the tag, anything. Clearly they didn't like it either. Still charged me full price.
Oh, thank you so much for answering my questions. I've got a little quick fire round of questions just to finish off the question section. It's just five
Yes.
quick silly questions. Some are drag related, some are not, but it's just like first thing that comes to your head, give the first answer kind of thing. Lipstick or lip gloss?
Lipstick. Ooh, not lip gloss.
Yes or no, pineapple on pizza?
Yes. Yes, yes, yes. Or I'll take you one further, applesauce on pizza.
Favorite emoji?
Um, Either the skull emoji or the one where it's like laughing with like the sweat bead dropping down because of walking panic attack.
Cocktail or champagne?
Cocktail. We need to get drunk.
And finally, can you summarize your experience on Drag Race in one word?
Panic.
I mean, that's
yeah.
a great word. I mean, I think you did better than panic, but that's a great word.
It's the truth. I mean, yeah, if I really thought about it, I could probably find another synonym, but panic attack, panic hyphen attack. Yeah.
Thank you so much. It's been absolutely lovely speaking to you. I was wondering, can you, for people who would maybe love to not forget Acacia and learn more about you, or just like, can you tell us a bit about where people can find you? But also, do you have any like projects coming up, or what's going on in the world of Acacia Forgot?
The biggest thing I've been working on is my YouTube. It's just at Acacia Forgot because I was original with my name the first time. Everything, I have the handle for everything. So it's just all at Acacia Forgot. No dashes, no dots, no commas, no 1, 2, 3, 4 at the end of it, just Acacia Forgot. On YouTube, because we just bought this house, I'm doing a lot of renovations. I'm doing a lot of things. I want to be like a dad. I want to be all dad, no kids. So I am I'm barbecuing, I'm renovating, I'm gardening, and I'm filming it all. So follow me on YouTube, subscribe to me. I would love to have you guys all here. Some big projects. I'm working on my album, my debut country album called Hollywood Hillbilly. The first single's out, the second single's coming very soon. And then yeah, just being hot on Instagram. So follow me there too.
Well, thank you so much, Acacia. It's been absolutely a treat speaking to you, and I certainly will not forget you. And I do hope we'll see you again in an All Stars or whatever it might be. But I mean, I'm hope we all manifest that for you.
Thank you so much, Matt. It has been such a joy talking to you too. And this is honestly I think probably my first like long interview that I've done since being on Drag Race. So thank you for popping the cherry and being the first. I'm so happy to be here.
I'm glad to pop your cherry.
Thank you for popping the cherry, Matt.
Thank you so much, Acacia. Bye.
Thank you. Bye.